I received a text from a friend this morning, and she just shared something with me that compelled me to share what I'm going to share. Okay, so the first thing is a dream I was given just a couple days ago. And in this dream, I was with a man by the name of Mark, who I felt symbolized John Mark, the disciple. And we were helping my sister, whose name is Mary, get her child out of the hospital. And so I felt the Lord was showing me that that dream was symbolic of Mary's, is symbolic of Israel, and John Mark, who is, I believe, symbolic of God's grace. John meaning God is gracious. That, you know, we are, through God's grace, the body of Christ is helping Israel to repair her damaged faith in Messiah. I believe that child, the name Mary actually means wished for child. And so I believe that we are here to help Israel while we're on the earth, church, to repair her faith and in Jesus, in Messiah. Okay, so then, and I think it's really important because the church rapture is actually going to mark the beginning of the time God deals with his people, Israel. So, you know, yeah, we're excited to go, but we should really be praying for Israel because this is going to be a very difficult time for them. It's an exciting time. They are going to come into their faith in the Lord, but it is going to be a time of trial and testing for them. So as we prepare for our departure, let's be praying for Israel and just ask God to give them, you know, grace and strength to heal her and to help her come into her faith in Messiah, Jesus. Okay, so the second thing is, okay, the dream that I was given last week that I shared, you know, about, I felt like the Lord was showing me a time of our departure. And so a friend of mine shared with me that that very night when she watched that video, okay, she said she went to bed and she was given a vision, okay, and what she saw in all bold was June 7 for 3 hours straight. And so I asked her what she felt that meant. She did feel that meant, you know, the time of the rapture, you know, which I shared in my last video. I do believe the body of Christ is meant to know the timing of the rapture, you know, that no man knows the day or the hour. When Jesus was having that conversation with his disciples, the church hadn't even been born yet. And of course, we know the mystery of the rapture was only revealed to the Apostle Paul years later. Okay, so Jesus was not talking about that. He was talking about his second coming, which is a separate event, 7 years after the rapture. Okay, so but again, that June 7, I just kept thinking about, like, what could that mean? And so I was just doing a search on YouTube just to see if anybody had shared any significance about that date. And what I learned, I found Brother Barry Scarbrough had put a video out about a couple months ago, and it was about June 2017, the significance of that time. Well, he actually shares that June 7th was the time Israel took back Jerusalem, June 7th, 1967. Okay, and he just added like 49 Gregorian years, which of course takes you to June 7th, 2016, as the beginning of the Jubilee year, the 49th year. And then, of course, the completion of that would be June 7th of 2017. So again, I don't want you to take this the wrong way. Everything we share, whether, you know, it's a dream, a vision, you know, we always have to take these things to the Lord. Okay, our human bias, as Barry Scarbrough talks about all the time, can get in the way. We can misunderstand things. We can misinterpret things. You know, just like the disciples who were looking for a physical kingdom, expected Jesus to set up his physical kingdom, but it was a spiritual kingdom. So we have to, as we receive information, whether it's a dream or a vision, you know, date, information, take it to the Lord, okay, and make sure, you know, that you are listening for his confirmation. All right, and so When I shared that dream, I didn't share the timing I was shown, because I didn't feel that's important, and I don't feel it's important. What I feel is important is that we're ready. I do believe that the rapture will probably take place on a specific time, set aside by God. But there's a large part of me that believes it could be imminent, that it could be at any time. So I feel, as the body of Christ, we shouldn't really be looking for a specific time, but a timing, a season. And I believe we are in that season. And we should all, be waiting and ready and watching for the Lord. So anyway, one other thing. Jesus gave us a very specific hint as to the time when the Gentile church would be fulfilled. And we are looking for that time, because we know that will mark the time of the rapture, the time the church is removed. And in Luke 21:24, Jesus said, Jerusalem will be trampled on by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. And June 7th, 1967 was the date that Israel took back Jerusalem from the Gentiles. So it's a significant time. I believe it marked the beginning of the fulfillment of that prophecy where Jesus said, that would mark the time. It had to do with Jerusalem being taken back by Israel. We saw that come to fulfillment. And now we're seeing a completion of the 50 years, which I believe Paul gave us some very specific time to be watching with the first fruits, comparing the church to first fruits. The completion of the barley harvest, which we're in that season of Pentecost. Okay, so I just think there's a lot of things pointing to the season that we are in, prophecies that have come to fulfillment or are coming to fulfillment. So anyway, let's just be watching, church. Let's not get caught up or hung up on specific dates, but let's just be ready, watching for our Lord.